Alright, so let's talk about the rights and duties of corporate officers. Or continue talking about that. I think we picked up towards the end of the previous slide, which is fine. Alright, duty of care. And again, some of this is review. You discussed this briefly in the beginning of the term in the agency chapter. It's simply to conduct corporate business in the manner in which you'd conduct your own business, or to act in the best interest of the corporation. Alright? And that's all the duty of care is. Making informed decisions. So I referenced this. If you're a director or an officer, you have to stay you have to stay current on the industry standards and norms and best practices, and be at the cutting edge. In that way you are making decisions, informed decisions, with the current body of knowledge as to what your competitors are doing and also where the market may be going. Alright. Duty to exercise reasonable supervision over officers, and that's a duty of the board. So the board needs to be comfortable taking a critical position of the officers, right? And that may include excluding inside officers from certain conversations and or decisions and or votes, right? Because the board may need to be critical of CEO. I referenced when CEO or CFOs are terminated, that comes from the board, right? And that's part of the board responsibility. Be comfortable taking critical positions of officers, which can be hard to do because oftentimes officers have a seat on the board and they're a close working relationship with the board. Business judgment rule. Alright. So this rule really insulates both directors and officers from liability for decisions that turn out to be bad decisions. Right? So business is the creation of risk in hopes of making a profit, right? So anytime you have risks, there's a result that you're not making the best decision. You know, that this may cost the company money. Alright? Well, the business judgment rule insulates directors and officers from liability for bad business decisions. Simply. Alright? You can't be sued for making a vote or making a decision that turned out to be a bad business decision that cost the company and the shareholders money. That's simply the rule. To be immune from liability, took reasonable steps to be informed about the matter. So that relates back to the duty to be informed and to make informed decisions. Had a rational basis for their decision, and typically we thought it would be profitable for the company. Did not have a personal conflict of interest. If these things are present, you're not going to be able to sue a director or officer for a decision they made without the gift of hindsight, right? Because decisions are made before you know how they're going to turn out. You're not going to be able to hold a director or officer personally liable for those. And this is broadly enforced. So take that to say that it is difficult to sue a director or officer for bad business decision. Duty of loyalty. Again, also from the agency chapter. Things that violate the duty of loyalty. Competing with the corporation. So if I'm on the board, I can't take what I know and then go form another business, or even serve on the board of a competitor, or even be an officer of a competitor. I can't do that. You can't compete with the corporation. cannot take corporate opportunities for personal gain. So I know there's a prospective business relationship that can make my company money, but it could also make me money personally. And I choose to make money personally. Well, you can't do that, right? So that is the taking corporate opportunities for personal gain. Pursuing an interest that conflicts with the corporation. All right. So I'll give an example. The CEO of Best Buy actually, and this was true a few years ago, I'm not sure if this has changed, but the CEO of Best Buy actually owned a plane, a small jet, that Best Buy was leasing from the CEO for use as the corporate jet. All right. Well, obviously, owning a jet, you're going to benefit from being able to lease that jet. So that's a conflict of interest. When those present themselves, as they will, you have to do two things. Disclosure, right? And so the entire board knew that, we're negotiating with the CEO of the company for use of this plane. And also that the CEO, who did also have a seat on the board of directors, cannot vote to ratify that contract or to enter into that contract. If you do those two things, disclose and then abstain from the vote, that's all you can really do to avoid the breach of duty of loyalty. So when those conflicts of interest present themselves, that's the way it would be addressed. Insider trading. Right, and this is front running, buying or selling stock based on information that you have as an individual by virtue of your role in an organization. And this could be from the board or officers. And to be quite honest, many employees also are classified as insiders. You can't trade on that information. That's a breach of the duty of loyalty. Authorizing a transaction that is detrimental to minority shareholders, or selling control. That is, I'm a board member and I have a vote, and I'm gonna sell my vote to a company that my corporation is contracting with. That's selling control of the corporation. That would be a breach of the duty of loyalty. Typically, I'm going to be compensated in my role as director, but I can't take money from outside business partners to vote a certain way.